Toys aimed at making kids smarter are actually getting smarter themselves. Elnaz Sarraf is the founder of AI robot company Roybi.
I met Elnaz at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Nevada, where she was a speaker. Roybi teaches kids as young as 3 years old different languages and STEM skills. The Roybi robot landed on the cover of Time magazine as it named it one of the best inventions in education.
We started Roybi about 3.5 years ago. The idea came to me because of my first company, iBaby. I was one of the co-founders and president of the company. We had baby monitor. So I had the opportunity to work with parents for over 5 years, and education was always something that would be discussed between us and parents. They were very interested in what's next. And it's a huge passion of mine, and I wanted to have a much bigger impact on children's lives. That's where the idea started, to use technology to give back to the community and children, to build something that kids can actually use based on their learning abilities and skills rather than one size fits all. So we have this amazing technology, AI, we put it into a small, tiny robot that kids can play with it. It's an educational AI-powered robot for children. Right now, our focus is on language learning and some STEM activities.
Kids are so elastic at such a young age. I mean, that's really when you have to hit them when it comes to language, right?
Yes, 1 out of 12 kids in the U.S. alone, they have some sort of speech disorder. So we feel so fortunate that we are able to have make some sort of an impact helping them. You have no idea how many parents reach out to us saying, this robot really helps their children to talk because, it's small. They see it like a companion friend. They talk with the robot, they communicate more, and it's been pretty impactful so far.
And so you've seen success with this. What are you hearing from parents?
We hear a lot of amazing stories. We have customers, kids that use it on a daily basis. Some kids, they're on autism spectrum. We had a parent that actually sent us an email and almost made us cry because she was saying that her child doesn't have any friends. She doesn't talk to anyone because she's on autism spectrum. She talks to the robot. She feels like she has a friend now. And these stories that we hear are so amazing, emotional, and we feel that we are on the right path to make an impact.
Growing up in Iran, Elnaz was raised in an entrepreneurial family.
Growing up, being a woman, it was very, very difficult. We couldn't do a lot of things. We had to go to separate schools. We couldn't really interact with the opposite sex, and it was very difficult even in terms of business. I remember, of course, I grew up in a business family. My dad is a businessman. He used to take me with him to some of his meetings. We would go even to the borders of Iran, Iraq, and some other countries to show me how he was doing business. But it was really strange for a lot of people to see a woman there. And then when I was, I think, 16 or 17, I tried to start my own business. It didn't last even for 6 months because I had to take a male colleague or my dad with me. Nobody was taking me seriously. And it was so strange for people to see a woman in business. And I have to mention, my mom is actually my role model because back in Iran, it was very difficult for women to be the face of the company. But my mom did a lot of different things for my dad's business, like operation, finance, and a lot of the success that my dad had. I should say my mom contributed so much to that. And I learned that, I saw all those things. And now when I go to the meetings, I do so many things by myself. Still, my mom is involved in my own business, and she always shares her knowledge. Doesn't matter it's in Iran, it's here, or anywhere else that you do business, negotiation skills are pretty much same thing. So I still learn a lot from my parents.
The global market for connected or smart toys is expected to grow from $13 billion in 2024 to more than $35 billion in just 5 years. That's according to market research firm Motor Intelligence.
We see people talking about AI on so many different levels. You're one of the few people I've talked to that are actually thinking about little kids and how do you help them and help shape them. Where do you see it going?
so much is going to change over the next 10 to even 20 years. I was actually at CES on a panel. We were talking about AIs, robots, and the fact that people are still looking at robots and AI in a negative way. But ultimately, we see there's a huge change coming. We like it or not, we are going to somehow utilize AI and robots within our lives, whether it be like an app or a pet robot or a companion robot for children. And what I can see from 5 years ago that we started the idea to today, so much has changed. People gradually are feeling a little bit more positive about AI and the uses of robots within education, healthcare, and so many other areas. And I think it's just going to get much better over the next 10 to 20 years. And also, the cost is going to come down, so a lot of people would be able to easily afford it.
Ideas is, you can come up with an idea, as you well know, and you probably have a million of them. Execution's a whole nother ball game. So you have an idea, and it's a robot, and it's going to impact kids. Talk to me about the process, because, you deploy it, but you have to, your focus group is kids. I mean, there's no way to tell, is this going to fly or not? Can you walk us through that whole process, and what were some signs along the way we've done it, where we really are on to something?
It's interesting you mentioned that, because a lot of companies build products and then they launch, they're so excited, and ultimately nobody wants to use them. And I always tell people, there are a lot of people that I try to mentor and share my experience, and I say, do the research first. When we came up with the idea of Roybi 3.5 years ago, even 5 years ago, it wasn't what it is today. It was some big robot with so many things, and then we figured out if we try to give people so many options, it's just going to confuse them. So we tried to narrow it down. It took us 3 years of research, development, to actually get to a point to say language development and language acquisition is so important for little kids, especially nowadays. The parents, are so busy. They're always working. The kids are spending a lot of time on the tablets, in front of computers, TVs. They don't talk that much, and speech is a huge, speech disorder is a huge issue, not just in the US, but worldwide. So we narrowed it down, we put it in test for about 6 months, and we got a lot of positive feedback. Then we launched the product, continued changing and changing. I cannot even remember how many times we changed our content, we changed our AI and the data sets that we have to make sure it just gets better. And then ultimately it was last year, we did a focus group with Texas University to see some of the metrics and how we are impacting the lives of children. The kids that use our robots for about 3 months, the screen time dropped by 46%.
Wow.
The interaction went from only 20 minutes a day to 3 hours a day.
Wow.
Continuously talk to the robot. Their learning increased by 84%. And interestingly, our robots actually increased their interaction with other learning materials like books, building blocks, because we have so many activities. The robot tells the child to go build a Lego set or draw or do other things. And that was quite fascinating for us.
I can tell from your facial expressions, maybe you're disappointed in me or whatever. A robot doesn't give you that. So it creates a different kind of interaction, doesn't it? I mean, this is one of the reasons why it can be so successful, correct?
Definitely. So what we try to do, our robot has a camera in front of it. It can see the child. It has face recognition. It can call the child by their name to get their attention. Because after a while, they forget about their toys. It creates that interaction. We also, in the background, implemented emotion detection. So it can see what the child is feeling, and it can adjust its content gradually based on that. We do have some stories, that if the child is sad, it plays them different types of content, and everything is available on the app as well for the parents to see.
Making education entertaining is also a piece of this, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's all about, play and learn. It's not just purely education, because kids and even myself, I don't want to go to just classroom just for the sake of learning. I want to have fun, right? So that's why we try to make our robots in a way that is fun to play with, and they don't even realize they're learning.
Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. has seen a shortage of teachers. 8 in 10 public schools said they had difficulties hiring staff. That's according to 2023 data from the National Center for Education Statistics.
One of negative thoughts from teachers is is the robot going to replace me? It's not. It's just going to be an additional resource to the teachers to help them out with teaching, because kids really like playing with this type of robots and, technology. And then when you think about it, we can send a robot to areas that kids don't have access to education. As a teacher, this can go to those type of areas or countries, and we can actually have an impact on millions of children's lives through our robot, considering that teachers are the ones creating the content and program for the robot.
How do you kind of change that negative loop that everybody's like, AI is coming, but it's coming for my job. It's going to replace me.
It's just going to take time, honestly. I remember even when the first cell phone came out, everybody was so negative about it. But now we go into bed with our cell phones in our hands. We don't sleep with it. It's just going to take some time. It's going to take education. For the past 5 years, we tried in so many ways to even educate the parents that have our products and the ones that, feel negative about it, to educate them about the benefits of the technology. Obviously, always there are going to be those bad people, that may use technology in a wrong way, but a lot of people like within CES, our industry, the people that I know, we are all trying to utilize the technology in a way to have a positive impact on people's lives. And in terms of people losing their jobs, I always say, yes, some jobs may be replaced, but we're going to have new ones. We just have to keep up with the technology and new skills.
It can be a lot to think about, including an image of somebody sleeping with their cell phone here and the robot here. Thank you so much. It's been great fun.